Good morning. How are you today? Sunny, sunny. I wanted to talk about, yeah, I'm flipping. So I'm going to talk about nursing today, getting your California license. California license is, most nurses want to have that license. If you're into traveling, you want to be a travel nurse. That was, and I say was, the place to go. They were paying. California is big, wide. You could work in any kind of field in nursing there. If you're a travel nurse, that's the ideal spot. At least it was. When they were paying, we would work 12-hour shifts, and 7 to 3 is whatever they said they paying you. And then 3 to 7 p.m. is time and a half, and anything over your 12-hour shift becomes double time. That's good money you're racking up. Now, the thing about California is these travel agency, they prey on, I feel, and it's my personal opinion, because I worked, I think it was Fresno, California, for this agency. They gone out of business. What you will find as a travel nurse is looking to work with an agency, they'll set up shop and they want all your information, and then they'll use you to the fullest, pay you cheap, and then let you go. Some nurses, I remember an incident. I was in Apple Valley, California, and the nurses in my hotel, they weren't working for the agency I was working for. They were working for another agency. And I don't want to call any names because I don't want anybody to sue me. I have no money to give them. So what happened, the agency they were working for did not pay the hotel, and then they got kicked out and their stuff was out when they came home from work. I think their family has to send money to get them back home and then fight with the agency. Nobody want to do that. You come all the way from wherever, most of the nurses are from the south, that doesn't pay well, and they come all the way to California to be out in the street. Hey, no way. But there are still some nurses that still going to California, still want, it's a license that everybody wants to get because jobs are out there. You can get jobs. The flip side to that is if you work on staff now, they pay PRN, because I met a couple nurses. I would ask them, how much do they get in the hospital? Some nurses, especially, um, I don't know the difference between the north side and the south side of California, but they say certain places pay more. They would get roughly $80 an hour they were making for PRN. Can you imagine $80 an hour compared to Georgia? Need I say more? But now what I've noticed in California is they're paying like, well, you have to go to agency and then maybe the facility will get you on board. But what happened is a lot of the hospital are getting rid of the 12-hour shift because they don't want to pay time and a half after 3 and then double time. They don't want to pay all that anymore. And another thing about being a travel nurse in California, first of all, the license, getting the license takes forever because a lot of people, a lot of nurses trying to get the license to go there and work. And I did meet a couple nurses. Most of them were African, not African American, from Africa. They are on staff in the hospital, PRN, and they set their days, but they live in the South. And they won't tell you, I'm going to be honest. You will find, if you're a new nurse, you will find some nurses are selfish in terms of giving you the information. I don't care. I'll tell you who's paying more or whatever, because we all in it. We all need to make a living. We all need to pay our bills. So if I can help another nurse, whether she's new or not, to guide her in the right direction, I'm going to do it. What I've found with nursing, there are some selfish nurse. They only want it for themselves. When I used to ask them, well, how did you live in Atlanta, you live in North Carolina, you live in Alabama, how did you get PRN? And they'll come home for a month. They have their house here, come home for a month, go to California, work for a month, and that's enough to sit home and do everything and save it and then go back. But they have, with the hospital, it's better if you work with the hospital PRN. But they wouldn't tell me how they do that, how they get in like that. I've never found one that will share that information with me. So most of the time I'm going to California, I'm going with an agency. And with an agency, they take out their portion and give you basically a lower rate. So it's, if you want to make money in California, you need to live there and you need to be on staff PRN. Another major thing that I notice about working in California, and it has nothing to do with African American nurse, black nurse, if you want to say that. It doesn't have nothing to do with Caucasian, white. There is lots of Philippines in California, Asian community, lots of them. Doesn't mean they're gonna like you now. They make it very difficult for you working because the managers are Philippine, the managers are Asian. So just because you white, don't think you have a pass. Everybody experience it. And when I say they make it difficult, if one don't like you, the whole crew don't like you, and they will find a way to get rid of you. So what I do, I make sure, ask for protection before I enter their building and ask for protection when I go out, because they'll find every little thing. Yeah, I think that some of the patients who are predominantly female, they might not want you as a nurse too. So it's a lot of negative, but a friend of mine, she's dear now. You just have to keep your mouth shut, take everything they give you. The hardest patient, that's what you get when you're an agency nurse, and just do your work and pray that you get out of that contract alive. And that's the truth. I'm telling you, that's how you deal with California. Do the right thing. Cover your back. Pair up with a nurse if you can trust them. Cover your back, cover her back. And I think I talked about this early. It was a Caucasian nurse. It's an older nurse. My friend Grace, I lost contact with her. When we were in Fresno together, we catch hell. And I work, she worked night shift and I was day shift, 12-hour shift. So most of the time, I was relieving her. And they would just talk about her like a dog. And I try to help her out so she looked good. And she tried, if I didn't catch something, she would catch it for me and I would catch it for her. And just one day I call out. The next day I went in, they got rid of her because she went behind, I guess. She was doing her work. She do more than her work, her share work. She was a good nurse. But it's just that if they don't like you, they're going to take the easy assignment anyway. So they'll be sitting around while you working. So, and they're in supervisor position. They're in managerial position. I was getting my patient water, and I think I talk about it in my current nursing video. Well, when I came out, they were telling the manager I left without giving them a report. It's the end of the shift. I left without giving them a report. They were shocked when I came out, and the manager looking up. She didn't say anything to me. She said, "Oh, I thought you left." So they call them the mafia. I don't know why. they call them, the mafia. Please don't inbox me and ask me because I haven't figured it out yet. But I figure maybe because they're so outnumber us. There's some good things I like about California working there. I like the fact that I could work and then on my day off, I can do what I want. I can travel. I can see sightseeing. And for me, if a nurse, like when we travel in the hotel, they put us all together, the nurses. They pay, I want to say they pay for your hotel, but, and put us all together. I'm pretty sure that it has something to come out your income. I don't know yet. But some people get apartment and they share. Some people want their own. That costs more it taking out your paycheck. But my mission is if you're going there to make money, just utilize the service that the agency gives you. If they give you, put you up in a hotel, take advantage of that. Because I did, when I was in Boston, I did the Airbnb, where you go into people's houses. That's another story. Never again will I go in these people's houses. Some have dogs, millions of dogs. The house stink. I mean, I couldn't breathe. It's horrible. But some was good, But to me, I think I don't think I like going into people's house if I'm a little desperate. It didn't really save me anything. I could have been in a hotel, be around all the other nurses. I just wanted to be cheap. That's the honest truth. I thought I was going to save, but I didn't save a darn thing. I had to rent a car. And, everywhere you go, someplace, this agency we used to work for, they used to transport you to the hospital. But as usual, it's all it takes is one nurse to mess it up. It affect us all. They will come out late. They will just be greedy trying to get the overtime. And then the the driver didn't want to keep picking us up all the hours. They want all of us to come out together. That's when we were at Santa Rita jail. And at that point, they decided they didn't want to drive for us no more. So we had to get our own cars. And getting your own cars, that's another expense. But you came to California to make money. So you got to think about all those things. So extended stay is the best place, or you could do other things. Craigslist, some people use. Some people like staying at other people's houses. Some nurses rent out their houses for nurses that live in California. So if you get the license, you can utilize it. I mean, through the agency. And then somebody told me once you start working there, maybe the facility, because they want you to have an address there now. Back in the days, they would hire you and you say, I do PRN, and you come in and you stay maybe at an extended stay and you work for maybe 3 months straight. And then you go back to your house in Alabama with your savings, whatever. But now they want you to have an address, you know, before I guess they hire you. And because there's an influx of nurses coming in and they were all doing the same thing, they're not really staying, they're not coming on staff full time. They kind of just dying out, and the salary that they were paying is not the same anymore in California, I'm told. I just once in a while go there. It's not consistent. I may take an assignment, a short assignment. You have to be aware of the different travel agency. Do your research, do your due diligence, ask other nurses, and be mindful. Be mindful, be respectful. Even when they're disrespecting you, don't talk back. Don't, nothing you can do. You're on the contract. And believe it, when you are a travel nurse, you are an agency nurse. Any one of those nurse CNA can do anything, can lie on you, and they'll believe them quicker than they'll believe you. That's my little take. So, California is the place to go for everybody. At least that's what we used to think. The license takes a while to get, but when you get it, it's a gold mine because there are other things, and I'm going to talk about that later about strike nursing. But I want to talk about that later on after I do most of my nursing